You're listening to CherryPickin Entertainment.
Throw me the ball and watch what I do with it.
You are now tuned into the CherryPickin podcast with your host, Andre Cherry.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the CherryPickin podcast. I know it's been a minute, but your boy Dre is back again for Week 13 action. We are already 13 weeks into the season. This upcoming week will be Week 13, of course. It's crazy the season has come and gone, and we've seen some contenders emerge. We've seen some legitimate contenders for the college football playoff kind of shape up here. And we've got a few weeks left of the season. I'm excited to get into this episode today where I'll give you my top 5 locks for Week 13 action. Then I want to talk about a few topics that are relevant to the college football landscape before we get out of here and wrap this podcast up with a bow. So why don't we go ahead, jump in, we'll get started here. And I'm going to switch up the flow. I'm going to give you my top 5 locks for Week 13 action. And we'll start in the ACC. I think Miami gets back on track this weekend with the win over Wake Forest. The Canes are coming off a bye a week after losing on the road to Georgia Tech. It was a rare loss. In fact, it's been their only loss of the season, which begs me to question if the Canes were overlooking the Yellow Jackets a couple weeks ago. Wake Forest, on the other hand, they're 4-6 and 2-4 in the conference, including a record of 2-3 in the last 5 games. I think Wake Forest is probably one of the worst teams in the conference this season. So I think Miami gets a big win this weekend, which will get the Canes to 10 wins. That 10-win mark is monumental, as the Canes have only reached that record one other time since they've been a member of the ACC, which has been about 20 years now. The win will also keep them alive in the hunt for the ACC championship and the college football playoff discussion. So Miami will get back, they'll right the course this weekend with a big win over Wake Forest in the ACC. In the Big 12, I'm taking Colorado over Kansas. Now, I wasn't so certain that Colorado would get to bowl eligibility this season, but boy was I wrong about Coach Prime's Buffaloes. Colorado is coming off an impressive 49-24 victory over Utah in Week 12, and they are now 8-2 and 6-1 in the conference. Colorado is still firmly in the hunt for the Big 12 championship crown. And after last week's victory, Deion Sanders had the following comments, and I quote, "We haven't even put it all together yet," Sanders said. "Like we haven't even played our best game. That should be, in itself, scary. Like, man, when I say we comin', we still comin'. We never stop comin'. We are comin'. And we ain't nearly there yet," end quote. So with that said, this week I'm going to take Colorado over Kansas. And I'm not too proud to say that I was wrong about Kansas this season either. I thought the Jayhawks would have made a big jump this season after posting a 9-4 record a season ago, but again, I was wrong. The Jayhawks have underperformed en route to their 4-6 record this year. However, I will give Kansas credit these last 2 weeks for beating ranked Iowa State and BYU, but I feel as if they won't be able to beat a ranked Colorado squad this weekend that possesses some of the best offensive weapons in all of college football. So with that said, I think the Buffs win big this weekend over Kansas out of the Big 12. In the Big 10, I'm taking Iowa over Maryland, and it feels like we haven't heard much from Iowa lately. Granted, the Hawkeyes are 6-4 and 4-3 in conference, so there's not much to ride home about. They're not really that special of a team this season, especially amid what Indiana's doing, what Oregon is doing. Ohio State is still having success. Penn State is even doing well. Iowa kind of gets lost in all of that. So Iowa's just, a 6-4 record, nothing special, nothing to ride home about. But did you know that Iowa has been invited to 19 bowl games in the last 21 seasons? That's impressive. Maryland, on the other hand, hasn't looked too good this season, and they are currently on a 3-game losing streak, including the 31-17 drubbing by Rutgers in Week 12. So this weekend, I think it's safe to say Iowa wins, and I think they win by at least 2 touchdowns. So I'm taking Iowa out of the Big 10. And then out of the Pac-12, or Pac-2, I'm taking Washington State over Oregon State. It feels like this matchup between Washington State and Oregon State has to be celebrated in some way. These two teams are the sole survivors from the Pac-12 exodus prior to this season that saw most of its former opponents depart for either the Big 12 or the Big 10. And while Washington State is 8-2 and Oregon State is 4-6, all that matters is who wins this game and theoretically wins the conference with a 1-0 record. Both of these schools are coming off losses in Week 12, but Oregon State has been on a 5-game losing streak. Washington State had an outside shot of making the college football playoffs, but those dreams were dashed after New Mexico upset the Cougars with a 1-yard touchdown with only 21 seconds left in their Week 12 matchup. Now, all Washington State has to play for is pride, and I think they'll bounce back with a convincing win over Oregon State this weekend, so I'm taking Washington State over Oregon out of the Pac-12. Then, out of the SEC, I'm taking Bama over Oklahoma. I'm picking Alabama to beat Oklahoma this weekend to remain in the conference football playoff race. This past weekend, Alabama beat Mercer by a score of 52-7. Its quarterback at Alabama, Jalen Milroe, you may have heard of him, has played well since the team's loss to Tennessee on October 19th. The signal caller has not thrown an interception during that stretch of games that followed. He's averaged 170 passing yards and nearly 93 yards rushing in those games with 8 total touchdowns. If Bama has a chance to continue running its schedule, it will punch its tickets to the playoffs. It needs Milroe to continue to dominate in these remaining games, however. They should be able to handle Oklahoma easily as the Sooners are currently 1-4 in their last 5 games. Also during that stretch, they've been outscored 108 to 139 points. Bama currently averages 39.5 points per game, which is currently best for 8th in FBS. I don't think Alabama falls off at all these next 2 weeks. I think they win big against the Sooners this weekend and then against Auburn in the Iron Bowl on November 30th. So I'm taking Bama over Oklahoma, and those are my picks for Week 13 action. I'll run them down for you one more time. Out of the ACC, I'm taking Miami over Wake Forest. Out of the Big 12, I'm taking Colorado over Kansas. Out of the Big 10, I'm taking Iowa over Maryland. And out of the Pac-12, I'm taking Washington State over Oregon State. And then finally, out of the SEC, I'm taking Bama over Oklahoma. So there we have it, my friends. Those are my top 5 locks straight up for Week 13 action within the Power 5 conferences. After this short timeout, I want to get into a couple topics that are relevant for college football. We've had a coach getting paid while one coach lost his job. I want to get into that real quick here before we wrap this podcast up with a bow. So don't go anywhere. The Cherry Pickin' Podcast will be right back.
Are you a tackle football fan? Kick off your day with an episode of Colts Corner. A group of passionate Colts fans discuss the latest news around Indianapolis Colts football. You don't want to miss us. Follow us on Facebook, Colts Corner 1, and on Twitter at Colts_Corner 1 and all major podcast platforms.
That includes Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Want to know what life is really like after the game is all over? Real athletes are here to share their true stories of adversity and triumph every week on After Orange Slices. Even if you don't like sports, pro athletes, former college stars, celebrities, coaches, public speakers, doctors, and all kinds of experts join the show, and there's a little bit of something for everybody. Join me, Bridget, for a slice of inspiration, plus your everyday sports news sprinkled in. New episodes every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, available anywhere you get your podcasts.
Basketball is back. And with that comes joy, tension, heartbreak, buzzer beaters, and elation. It's time to be courtside for every one of those moments, no matter where your team is playing. Short Court specializes in making replica and custom basketball courts for your home, office, sports cave to decorate your walls with all those memories. If you have a picture, we can recreate it. Featured in the 2021 UniWatch Holiday Gift Guide, Short Courts are made using real wood. We frame and give them an epoxy finish to protect the new centerpiece of your memorabilia collection. with previous customers including Northern Kentucky University, Southern Utah University, 199 Apparel, the Perimeter Podcast with Adam Morrison, and many more celebrating the careers and retirements of their coaches. It's time you visit shortcourts.com for more info and a gallery of our work, or you can send us an email, info@shortcourts.com. Be sure to find us on social media, just search for Short Courts. It's time to bring the home court home.
Hey everybody, welcome back into the show. Now I just want to talk about a couple of relevant college football topics. First of all, got to lead with the news that Curt Cignetti gets paid up. Indiana coach Curt Cignetti received a contract extension with the university that will run through the 2032 season. The contract extension is coming on the heels of IU's unprecedented 10-0 start. Cignetti's new 8-year contract will pay him an average of $8 million per year, with an annual $1 million retention bonus, putting the total value of the new contract at $72 million, which after reading that aloud seems bonkers. Shout out to Coach Cignetti for securing the bag, but these contracts are outrageous. Schools are pigeonholing themselves into these crazy contracts these days, and I realize he has done something special that no other coach has done at IU, and I'm not trying to take that away or diminish from his accomplishments from what he's done this season, but Indiana's schedule didn't include any world beaters. Smart by both parties to get a contract extension agreed to before the big upcoming game against Ohio State this weekend, where the school will see its impressive and unprecedented undefeated streak come to an end. Cignetti originally received a 6-year, $27 million contract when he was hired in December, after leading James Madison to an 11-1 season in 2023, where he made close to $700,000. How many coaches actually have sustained success for the entire duration of their contracts? I would probably go out on a limb to say that most actually are unsuccessful, and especially at a program like Indiana, I just worry that what we are seeing this year is just a flash in the pan before reality sets in again next season. Cignetti no doubt deserves to see himself get paid up, but these long and expensive contracts are not good for the program in the long run, and that's my opinion on that. We've seen countless examples this season of coaches underperforming after getting a crazy contract or an extension, but the school's hands are tied up. Examples are Florida State, LSU, and even Florida, although for how bad and bleak things were looking in Gainesville earlier this season, it looks like Billy Napier, the head coach, may be able to turn things around to get his Gators to a bowl game this season. So I would really be excited to see if he can do that. I just wish IU luck, and I hope that I am wrong. I hope IU does the unthinkable and beats Ohio State this weekend, and then, maybe then, I'll be a true believer that the program is really headed in the right direction. But shout out to Coach Cignetti for getting paid up. He deserves the money. You know, you deserve to get an extension if you've done something no other coach has done at Indiana. I'm just saying, $72 million for a season in which you didn't really play anybody that tough? I mean, sure, Michigan is great for the brand. You beat Michigan. Michigan is down this year, though. The only real test, I think, that's on the schedule is upcoming this weekend against Ohio State. So let's see how they do. And if they can beat Ohio State, then I will become a believer in Coach Cignetti all the way. Then the other topic that I want to talk about, it hits closer to home. We've got Temple University. Temple football makes a change. The press release came out earlier today on November 17th that Coach Stan Drayton and Temple University leadership had come to an agreement that Drayton would no longer coach Temple's football program moving forward, amid a change that promotes defensive coordinator Everett Williams as the interim head coach for the remainder of the season. Drayton was hired in 2022 and was in his third season at the helm. During that time, he had posted a 9-25 record with only 3 wins in each season, including a walk-off win on Saturday against Florida Atlantic in overtime. There were only 2 games remaining on the schedule, so some may question why Drayton was let go prior to the end of the season. Perhaps the school wanted to get a jump on their head coaching search now instead of waiting until the end of the season. By all accounts, Drayton was a good man, and I don't think I ever heard anything negative about this head coach, which is definitely a positive compared to the previous coaching administration where I feel like we were hearing negative stuff on an almost weekly basis towards the end of their tenure in North Philly. Coach Drayton, however, he had a wealth of coaching experience on the college and professional level, but this was his first head coaching gig in the collegiate ranks. If nothing else, I was hoping that Drayton would be able to help build the Temple football program back to pre-Rod Carey levels, but it appears that he was unable to do that in this new NIL world. The damage that the previous coaching staff did to Temple football should make any diehard Owls fan angry, upset, pissed off. But I don't think that this program is beyond repair, but it will require that the next head coach is someone with actual head coaching experience and a knack for recruiting, especially in this NIL reality that we are all living in. So I'm hoping that Temple can find the right coach to build the program back up, because we've heard of people in media say that maybe Temple should just get rid of the football program altogether, but I just feel as if Temple, at least in the last 15 years, has had a solid football program. And I feel like you can't end that. Like, let's see if you can build it back up to pre-Rod Carey levels and get this thing rolling again. Because for a while, Temple football was one of the best programs out here in the Northeast, where I'm at, between New Jersey, New York, even Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. Like, this was one of the better programs in the area. Would love to see Temple football to get back up to that standard again. Tough loss for Coach Drayton. It's a shame that he lost his job, but I understand it. You go 9-25 in the last 3 years. It's not looking bright that you can turn this ship around. So wish him luck in whatever comes next for him. But I also hope that the Temple football program can find a good head coach that can help them get back to where they want to be. So there we have it, my friends. That was my Week 13 podcast. It was a bit of a shorty this week. Hope you listen to it. I hope you enjoy it and hope it gets you ready for college football action this upcoming weekend. I'm going to be traveling at the end of this week, so I'm going to be gone in advance of the Thanksgiving holiday. So I may not get a chance to release another podcast episode before that time comes. So I truly just want to say happy Thanksgiving. Hope you all are able to enjoy it with your family and friends. I hope to do the same myself. And I hope to watch college football this week, next week, as we get closer and closer to the end of the season. So definitely appreciate you downloading this podcast. Appreciate you following me. I'm on Blue Sky as well. You know where to find me on Twitter, but I'm the same handle at Blue Sky as well. So if you're out there, please link up with me. I would love to connect with you all. But I hope you enjoy watching college football this upcoming weekend. It should be a good one. Week 13 action is coming at us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving if I don't talk to you again. And I will look forward to talking to you in the near future. Have a good one, everybody. Peace. Like, man, when I say we coming, we still coming. We never stop coming. We are coming. Thank you again for tuning into my Cherry Pickin' podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to subscribe to my show and drop me a rating on Apple Podcasts. All of my digital content can be found at the website CherryPickinSports.com. And if you are looking to interact with me via social media, my Twitter handle is @Cherry_Pickin. That's PICKIN. On my Twitter, you'll also find a link to my blog where I post my weekly college football predictions and analysis. I can also be reached via email at cherrypickinsports@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out to me regarding what you like about this podcast or about what content you'd like to hear more of on future episodes. I sincerely thank you for your support, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Take care.